January. I'm Pamela Waldrop Shaw, and it is Super Bowl Sunday. But the content I'm getting ready to give you is relevant forever. And so it doesn't matter if it's 2/2/20, which today is, or 2/2, whatever. What I'm getting ready to say and share with you, I believe will be beneficial to you today, tomorrow, next year, and 10 years from now. So if you would, share this timeless message. I'm Pamela Shaw, author of Design Your Life Planner, Breakthrough Goal Setting Workbook, and the Prayer Journal. All things Design Your Life, and I'm honored to invest this window of time with you to support you on a 1-month check-in of 2020 and check on your goal accomplishment and your success. We now have 11 months instead of 12. We have 48 months instead of 52. Remember I told you what I was going to do? 4 in here, 48 still in here. Counting down the weeks, so we are 4 weeks gone, 1 month gone, and January was both a very short and a very long month. I don't know about you, but I saw a lot of posts like, woo, January was a long year. It was both a long and a short month, and so how was it for you? Let's check in honestly and transparently with yourself and a trusted, invested mentor and or accountability partner. Many people have fallen off their goals already. Many people have forgotten what they said they were going to do. Many people did not make any progress in January. I thank you for that love. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the encouragement, because you know what? It never fails. When I broadcast that I'm going to do a Facebook Live on a certain day at a certain time, it never fails. That certain day and that certain time, I'm like, oh, why did I say I was going to do that on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday at 3:30? I would rather be relaxing and sitting in my chair. And so a lot of times it comes down to pushing through what you don't feel like doing. So I do pray that especially today, something that I say and give you is beneficial to your journey and your success starting here and starting now. So it's important to check in transparently, honestly, with yourself, with a trusted mentor and an accountability partner, because so many people have fallen off. Why? Well, there are reasons. Let's see if any of these resemble what yours might be if you're somebody who's fallen off. And let's just acknowledge, some of you are crushing it. Some of you are like, you're out there. You know, come the new year, you hit that rocket and you are like, I am on it. This is going to be my year. I am not letting anything slow me down. I mean, hands down, I'm on it. So some of you are crushing it, but you may be leading some people who are slightly off. So let's look at some of the reasons that some of you might be off. You got stuck in the goal setting process. Like it was too overwhelming. You didn't go through the breakthrough goal setting workbook. You just tried to, do it on your own and set a few goals, and you got stuck there. Second reason, you wrote them out, but you didn't create the habits to support the goals, because for every goal, there has to be a new behavior. So you wrote out the goal, but you forgot to check in on what behavior would take you to the goal or the process. Number 3, you wrote them out, but you haven't looked at them since. Like they're somewhere that you didn't put them in a 90-day planner because you'd be looking at that every day. You wrote them, but you don't really even know where they are. Maybe it's number 4. You wrote them out, you set the process, but you neglected to include accountability. There's nobody who cares or who's invested in what you're doing. And so it's easy to just slip off the wagon and into an old pattern. Is it any of those 4 for you? If it is, you're not alone. You're not alone. This is not an opportunity for me to be the authority and for you to feel shamed. You are not alone. I have done everything wrong and everything right in the goal setting process, and it is one of the things and one of the reasons that I consider myself an authority on this process, because I have been doing it for years and years and years. And I want to say, I started this process when I was a little girl. My mother gave me my first weekly plan sheet and my first 6 most important things list to do. When I was a child, my $5 a week allowance depended on my reliability to accomplish those tasks and check them off and be accountable to her that they were in fact done. She taught me first things first, and I've built on that through the different seasons of my life and where I've invested myself and my talents and my growth. And so regardless of whether you had that kind of childhood support or you're just getting it now as an adult, when you get it, when you know better, you do better. We don't want to stumble into this new year, dragging your past, dragging forward what didn't work. So if you haven't, take the time to prayerfully consider in your life what and who is beneficial and what and who needs to go. That's really important. What and who gets to come along and what and who does not get to come into this new year the same way. Determined to go into a new decade with focus and purpose, hope, love, faith, And in all of that, choosing joy from the very beginning of 2020. So I want you to consider some things. So for those of you who are note takers, would somebody take notes in the chat so that when people come behind, they can see your notes and see your comments on the notes? I love when I get to go back and look at your thoughts or your questions, and I will take the time to answer them if the commercials aren't great during the Super Bowl. If they're great, I probably will watch them, but I will definitely take time to answer your questions or comments here. So for those of you who are note takers and take notes, please go ahead and start that process. It's meaningful to me. Okay, so if you think this is going to be good, hit that share button on your Facebook and share it to your family and friends. Let me tell you why. Do I think the message is good? Yeah, I think it's beneficial for everybody. But let me tell you how sharing benefits you. When you make a statement to your family and friends and those people who follow you, I am a goal setter. I am someone who's going after a different outcome this year. I'm someone who's drawing boundaries. I'm someone who's saying that not everything and everybody will go with me this year. When you make that statement, other people start to respect your boundaries in a different way. The only people who don't like your boundaries are the people who lose out by manipulating you or enabling you or being enabled by you, and they no longer get to benefit from that. And so they don't like your new boundaries, but most people will champion your growth. And so that's why I hit that share button and let other people know what and why you're doing. Okay, let's consider this. I want you to ask yourself these questions, and it's a good time to start taking notes. Which good habits and patterns do you want to carry with you into 2020? Specifically, which good habits, which patterns do you want to carry with you into 2020? And how solid are they? Are they so solid? Are they the same solid habits? Are they as solid as the time of days that you brush your teeth? Are they that solid? Like you don't even think about it. You don't even think about how much toothpaste you put on. You don't evaluate. You don't negotiate. You don't procrastinate brushing your teeth before you go to bed or when you wake up. I mean, unless you just don't want to keep your teeth. Most people have that solid, at least 2 times a day toothbrushing piece in place. Are the habits that we're talking about that solid? What bad or unhealthy or destructive habits must you replace with better ones? Now, this is usually easy to do. It might have to do with wake and sleep time. It might have to do with some consumption of some sort, from food to substance to technology to any other thing. Gossip. What consumption? What bad, unhealthy, or destructive habit must you replace better ones with? Next question, what are you about to do for the very first time? In your goal setting, what are you about to do for the very first time? And have you assembled the support and the tools to engage? Who or what are you going to give more attention to, and for what outcome in 2020? Who or what are you going to give more attention to, and for what outcome in 2020? Because here's the truth. What you give more attention to grows. Drama in your family, what you give more attention to grows. Dissatisfaction, what you give more attention to grows. The problems in my life, what you give more attention to grows. Frustration, what you give more attention to grows. Disrespect, what you give more attention to grows. Creating a new avenue of income, what you give more attention to grows. Improving healthy friendships, what you give more attention to grows. Demanding respect and healthy relationships that are not enabling or consuming or obsessive or controlling, what you give more attention to grows. So what are you going to give more attention to? What are you going to do that nobody's expecting you to do? When you accomplish it, how will it make you feel? What will you hear other people say when it's accomplished? What's the most significant thing you can do to make sure this year surpasses last year? I want you to look at your top 5 to 10 Gallup strengths. Seriously. So you're like, wait a minute, you're like a water hose today with questions. Yeah, because I'm going to give you the lesson, and then you're going to need to take time to go back and chew this up. Press pause if you're re-watching, and you're going to have to get out a spiral notebook or your breakthrough goal setting workbook. You're going to ask these questions and answer them. Why? Because most people have not taken adequate time to slow down before you speed up. So I'm going to keep asking these questions, and I recognize that I'm going at a faster pace than you could answer them, but you're not supposed to answer them right now. You're supposed to get them right now. Think about some of the things that I'm saying, and then do the work in a little bit later today or another scheduled time with yourself more suitable to your schedule that allows you to genuinely ask and answer these questions. So look at your top 5 to 10 strengths seriously. Look at them and read the support materials that describes them. If you've done the Gallup Strength Finders, there is also a page that shows who you are in the balcony version of your strengths. Like in an amazing world, who are you in the balcony version of your strengths, right? Because that's like the ideal. That's the ultimate of your strength. Like if one of your strengths is strategy, you're always thinking about how what you do can benefit other people or how you can make something better. If it's maximizer, if it's activator, you're thinking about getting something started. If it's a relator, you're thinking about how you can build stronger connections. And so are you operating in the balcony of your strength or are you operating in the basement of your strength? Take a serious look and read the support materials. Are you coveting someone else's strengths that you don't have and wasting time looking at somebody else's strengths instead of investing in your own? Are you putting the hand to the face up to somebody who could be of support to you? You know, a lot of times that's what I get, but I get that. I'm willing and available to coach and move people forward. Are you doing that to a person who could take you further with guidance and support based on experience and willingness and call? You know, it's really foolish to hide behind procrastination, pride, and old excuses. It's just foolish. And I don't think any of us really intentionally wants to do that. But it might be good for you to ask somebody if they think you actually are hiding behind procrastination or pride or old excuses. If you're staying the same, you are. How do you know if you're staying the same? You're staying the same if what you say you want is not manifesting. You're staying the same if the relationships you say you want are not the ones that you have. You're staying the same if the relationships that you have said that you worked on keep recycling the same patterns. You're staying the same if you say you want to earn more, but you're not earning anymore. You're staying the same if you want to advance and create more opportunities and you're not creating those opportunities year after year. You're staying the same. So you've got to ask yourself that. There are some of the mental and heart issues. So let's look at another angle. Okay, so those are some of the mental and heart issues. So let's take another look. Let's look at this. Let's look at things from this angle. Okay, there's a difference between a New Year's resolution and a goal. So let's look at resolution versus intention. Did you set a resolution or did you set a strong intention with a goal? Let's look at the difference. So we're not about fixing the old, okay? That's not what goal setting is. I'm going to fix everything that's old. Nope, that is not what we're about. We are about creating the new. We're about creating something brand new in this new year. You do not pour new wine into old wineskins, according to biblical prophecy and explanation. You create something entirely new. So resolutions, they line up more with, it would be nice if. It would be nice if. That's a resolution. Goals have a start and stop date, and they include an intentional direction, a definite pathway, and a change that will bring about a desired and different result. That's what goals do. Goals give our lives direction. If I get in my car and I just start driving out of habit, I'm probably going to take a left off Talbot and then I'm going to take a right on Lover's Lane, and then I'm probably going to be tempted to turn right on Searcy because I drive there 5 days a week to my workout at D1 in Bowling Green. If I just get in my car and start driving, I'm probably going to go down Indian Hills and left on Fairview, right on Lover's Lane. My car will just take me there. But what if I want to get to Somerset and I just get in the car and go where habit takes me? Well, I won't get where I'm going. I won't be there on time. It would be a ludicrous thing. Yet we approach our lives on that pattern of just getting in, going on drive, going on autopilot, and going where we're going, where we went yesterday, just because that's where we went. Goals have start and stop dates, and they include intentional direction and pathway that will bring about desired change and different results. Goals give our lives direction, and it could be new direction, and you may need to put on Siri, and you may need to tap into Alexa all at the same time just to make sure you're going the fastest. See, when I go into Maps, Google Maps or Maps on my phone, it'll give me 3 things. Do you want to take the 4-hour route? Do you want to take the 1 hour, 52-minute route? Or do you want to take the 1 hour, 17-minute route? Well, I want to go the 1 hour, 17-minute route. Why would I want to go 4 hours? hours or a half hour longer if I can get there in an hour 17. What I'm telling you is there is a more direct route to the place you're trying to go. There are people who've been there before you. There are people who care and can take you, but you've got to pay attention and have a specific goal. So goals put powerful force into play on a conscious and on a subconscious level. And the law of attraction, it gets activated. And there are universal principles that are unleashed. Here's what I hear a lot. I'm not good at that. You're good at that. I'm not good at that. No. I might not say it to your face because I'm not going to debate and argue you all the time, but here's the reality. You haven't invested in building that muscle. You know, I got a bicep, I got a tricep, I got abs, I got some good muscles. But guess what? They didn't just come because I wished I had them. They came because I have invested in building them. It's the same for anything that you do. Most people are not just naturally good at anything. Even people who become masters at something, they were not initially good at it until they made themselves good at it by investing in building the muscle. When you say you're not good enough at something, what that says to me is you won't sit still long enough to press through it. You won't sit still long enough to make enough phone calls. You won't sit still long enough to think through the process, the program, the strategy, the pathway. And please remember, it was Grace Kehoe from DSWA, who I love and adore and respect, who taught years ago, and this stuck with me. Whatever follows I am follows you. I'm overwhelmed. Yes, you are. I'm frustrated. Yes, you are. I'm behind. I'm too old, too fat, too lonely, too depressed, too far in debt, too. You're right. Because whatever follows I am follows you. So you better be very careful. I am a clear thinking, money making machine who brings value and generosity to countless because I live in unlimited supply. That's right. What follows I am follows me. So what are you saying? I am frustrated. I am overwhelmed. I am behind. I am mad at myself. I'm so frustrated. I'm so disappointed. I'm so tired. What are you saying? Even if you're not saying it out loud, and a lot of you are unfortunately saying it out loud, but even if you're just saying it to yourself, it's just as damaging. You know, breakthrough goal setting is, it's that breakthrough goal. It's that big goal. It's that big goal that you accomplish that inspires other people. It's when I asked you earlier, what are you going to do that nobody's expecting? That's the goal. Dream big. Throw a big one out there, you guys. Throw a big goal out there. Most people make incremental improvements in their lives. And they feel good about the incremental improvements. You know, I'm going to save more money and spend less money. And they do a little bit of that and it's better. But that's not what inspires us. It's the inspirational stories that inspire us. I was listening to Joel Osteen today, the very end of his on TV sermon today, and he was talking about Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry's story is it's remarkable. It's a remarkable success story. He's someone who's given so much money to so many philanthropies and good things since his success. But his early success was a long window before even a couple people showed up to a couple of his plays. But of course, he is an epic millionaire today. I don't know his net worth. And that's not the value of his earnings does not create the value of his accomplishment. But I'm using it as an example of a breakthrough goal. What would your wildest dream? Did you set that goal? And are you connected to that goal? See, today in the Super Bowl, there will be a lot of offensive plays where the quarterback gets the ball and he hands it off to a running back and they get 2 to 4 yards. And that's progress because really you get 4 chances to get 10 yards. And if you're getting 2 to 4 every play, then you're going to get the 10, right? And out of 4 tries. But the defense, of course, is coming against them to stop it with everything they got. So to me, I don't like the running plays. I've already prayed for all the players today that will be on the field for their safety, for their bodies, for healthy play, for healthy competition, for every man to be at his best. I don't really have skin in the game. My Titans lost a couple weeks ago, and so I'm looking for a good game, and I can cheer for players and coaches on both sides because there's some truly quality people that are just stand up that I admire. So I will look forward to watching the game from that perspective. But the 2-4 yards, those runs, that's not exciting. Oh, it's the Hail Mary. It's the QB down the field, throws the ball. Oh, who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Which team will get it? Will his receiver get it? Boom, he gets it. Bam, he runs across the line. Woo, scores. It's the winning touchdown. That's every game. That's every exciting sports game that we watch, football, baseball, basketball. That's the excitement. It's that play. It's that winning experience. Now, guess what? That quarterback and that receiver, they're not just practicing today to see if it's going to work. They've been playing since Pee Wee League, Little League, junior high, high school. They've been with this team running these plays day in, day out. You know when else they run them? They run them at night. They run them through their heads. They run them mentally. They rehearse them over and again. They visualize seeing themselves throw the ball perfectly, catch the ball perfectly. This is not just a recreational. This is a career for the people who will be playing. It's not the 2 and 4 yards. It's the breakthrough. What's your breakthrough goal for 2020? What is it that's just like, you don't know where it's going to come from? And let me tell you something, you don't have to know where it's going to come from. But if you have the clarity of it is coming, that's a different. Did you set that goal January 1st? Have you done this process yet? And as I'm talking, do you feel like it needs tightening up a little bit? If you believe this information is beneficial, hit that share button on your Facebook page and let's include your family and friends on the conversation. God gave us free will, and that means we have free will to think. So when we choose, which is free will, this makes us the creator of our own emotions. You're like, wait, what, did you say something weird? No, I didn't say anything weird. I said that God gave us free will and that we get to choose what we think. Therefore, we're the creator of our own emotions. We choose, we create. Sometimes if I'm thinking something that doesn't serve me well, like about my breakthrough goal, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen, I'm going to say thank you to my mind. Thank you for that thought. I appreciate the thought. Thank you for thinking that. So I disassociate myself from the thought because I appreciate the thought, but I'm not going to own the thought. Sometimes I will just say to myself, thinking. Wow, that was a thought. It's not the one I want to keep. So, hasta la vista. Or I say, thank you for the thought. That's not what this means. Here's the deal. At every moment, we have the power and opportunity to change how we think, feel, and choose. How we think, feel, choose, or act or react to our circumstances, to other people, to our lives, and to our goals. How we react to our future. We're not a victim to our past or our biology unless we choose to be. Unless we choose to get in the car and go to the random, most familiar route instead of taking the most expedient directions from Siri. Let's talk some examples about sincere goals that are different from resolutions. Okay, I'd like to have a bigger team. Resolution. I want to grow my team by 50. Closer. My team will be 150 by April 30th, 2020, and we are currently enjoying the momentum and celebration of each new person who aligns with us. Goal. Why? Because 150 by April 30th, deadline. So I can look and see if your team is 150 by then or not. And then we're enjoying the momentum. There's the belief in the fact that you can create momentum and that you want to celebrate each person who aligns with you. So I want to grow by 50. Resolution. My team will be 150 in size by April 30th, 2020, and we're currently enjoying momentum and celebration with each new person who aligns with us. That is a goal, and that is an affirmation to accompany that goal. Here's an example. Here's another for example. I need to lose 50 pounds. Okay, that's a resolution. It's not a goal. I need to lose 50 pounds is not a goal. It's a statement. It's a resolution. It's a dream. It's a wish. Here's what it might sound like as a goal. I'm enjoying the health and freedom of weighing 185 by March 30th, 2020. Okay. I pull those numbers out random. Obviously, I don't weigh 185, but it's somebody listening would like to lose 50 pounds and weigh 185 by March 30th, or someone you're married to, perhaps. What's better about I'm enjoying the health and freedom of weighing 185 by March 30th, 2020. There's a deadline. It's specific. You step on the scale, it's either there or it's not. And the specificity of it drives you toward it, and it teaches you to respect the time. It's measurable. It's specific. It's time sensitive. These could be examples of affirmations as well as the goal, but I include them in goal setting because it's likely that your January 2020 was the same as November 2019 because you only stabbed at goal setting. Like, okay, I'm going to say a few things, but you didn't really mean it. You really created resolutions. A reliable study from Virginia Tech. 80% of Americans do not have goals. Woo, we're beating 80%. Let's give a hand up because we're beating 80%. Yep, everybody on here. 80% of Americans do not have goals. We do. So there you have it. We're already in the 20%. Let's take it up a notch. 16% do have goals, but they're not written. 16% do have goals, according to the study, but they are not written. 4% write their goals. Okay, I'm going to say that you're with me in the 4%. 4% of all people, all Americans, write their goals. 1% write their goals, review their goals, and over their lifetimes, that 1% earns 9 times more than everybody else. Now, are you ready to share this message? Hit that share button with your family and friends, and let's get them in on the conversation, because it's so easy to be in the 1%. I've said so many times, it takes so many people who do so little to make so few of us look so good. It's not that I've done anything extraordinary in my life. I haven't, but I have been tenacious and consistent and persistent about getting better over the things that I do that I know that I feel called to. So if you want to be in the 1%, it's a written goal, it's a reviewed goal, and it's a goal with accountability. So if you want to earn 9 times more than others, how much do you want to earn? How much do you want to earn? By when? Okay, here's the reality. You are going to have to slow down to speed up. What do you mean? I mean that when I was a little girl and we would have a chore to do and we would just jump in and do it, my dad would often be heard as saying, "Hey, y'all, kids." He wouldn't say y'all, he'd say kids. "Hey, kids, don't just splaz away." If you ever, splaz is, I don't know if it's a family word or if it's a Southern word, but he'd be like, "Don't just splaz away." In other words, there is a proper way to get this done. Don't just go splaz away. Let's follow a protocol that is proven over time with people who are successful. And let's slow down to speed up. If a job is worth doing, it's worth doing right. Did your parents say that to you? I'd rather do a job once right than 5 times over and over again trying to get it right, right? So let's slow down to speed up. What do I mean? Most people are just going head into 2020, like, whoo, clock started, head into 2020. They did not slow down to consider all those preliminary questions that I just asked you. They did not slow down to write out their goals. They did not slow down to build in accountability or to put affirmations to create a deadline. And I'm going to go so far as to say that the majority of you have really never taken the time to go through the breakthrough goal setting process. The first 2 chapters are on goal setting, the what and the why. And they will those 2 chapters alone will take you anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. The whole book, if you were to go through the whole book, it's about 17 hours. But would you rather go see, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a person with a lot of life experience, with several decades of leading and living and parenting and coaching and mentoring. And so with that is the template for the writing. The first 2 sections, the first one is dream big. How big can you dream? What is your vision? What's on your heart? The second chapter is goal setting. Then the third chapter deals with your patterns and the importance of breaking your patterns. The next section deals with habits, affirmations, mission statements, time management, connection, finishing, and commitment to get your best yes. Slow down to speed up. If you use the shortcut to goal setting, that's a free document on PamelaShaw.pink. Absolutely, you are welcome to go with that. But did you slow down enough to really set up the planner? Because tools make a difference. Tools matter because most of us don't have the capacity or the natural giftedness or the knowledge or strengths to sort this out on our own. And so the Breakthrough Goal Setting Workbook, in my opinion, is one of the most solid, comprehensive. I've had people text me, call me, message me. "Oh my gosh, I had the most amazing breakthrough. I would never have come to this conclusion on my own. When I worked through, what I found out was, and now I am advancing in their life in some way." That thrills me. And so that's the Breakthrough Goal Setting Workbook. And then this is my last year's prayer journal. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is, oops. What's falling out in the back is a little book that I had that I did a 21-day detox with Dr. Caroline Leaf in the month of December as I was wrapping this one up. And I knew I didn't have enough pages to do the detox in my prayer journal. So I did this little book in it, but it's part of 2019. So it's such an important piece of that, my finish of my year. So I'm leaving it in here. But color, a lot of color, a lot of writing, a lot of pouring out my heart day after day. The tabs that are on here are where God answered a prayer. So I have not yet taken a full day, but I'm going to take a full morning when I'm not traveling, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read every single page of this because I want to look at days that I was pouring my heart out in request and supplication for God to show up. And then he did. And I want to be reminded of every yes and every answer. And that's why you journal. The front part of the prayer journal, I don't want to bring my work into my quiet time. I don't want to bring my design planner into my quiet time. And so the front part of the prayer journal has not only other scriptures that you want to memorize and scriptures that you want to stand on, but it also has a word or phrase for this year, scriptures of promise. What are your values, top 5 for this year as you advance in it? It also has events that you want to pray for throughout this year. What's coming up January through December that you want to pray for in advance. Then there's some reflection questions that are kind of like goal setting, but they're just more on the spiritual side of you to reflect the desires of my heart, 2 primary habits to master. What are my resolutions in each of the different categories? In this particular place, I want you to think of an ultimate. Spiritual, what's your ultimate? Like, what's the ultimate that you would have in here? So one thing that I wrote in last year's was the BSF study, a more focused quiet and prayer time, and to pray in total belief. For me, that was my ultimate, that my prayers that I would be praying in complete belief. Physical health and wellness, what's your ultimate? Personal growth and education, and so on. I'm inviting you to write down your ultimate here to really stretch your thinking for that breakthrough. And then this next page is key behaviors, and it has you actually frame your day. What are the 10 things that you'll frame your day with? The first 2 hours of every morning and the last hour of every night. And what are your key behaviors that you are not going to let go of? That happens in the prayer journal. And then how do you live your values? And in a perfect world, what do you want most? And how will you honor that? So there's a lot of work that you can also do that you can carry into your quiet time through the prayer journal. Why am I so big on tools? I'm big on tools because I believe that most people just go back into habits. They stay in the pace of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Alarm goes off, get up, brush my teeth, grab coffee, grab a breakfast, get dressed, get out the door, go to work, get home from work, get the kids, get dinner, get ready for tomorrow at work, do laundry, go to bed, exhausted, throw on some TV, distract myself, wake up, hurry, hurry, hurry. Yeah, that's too fast. That speed is not going to create change. And so I believe that tools, when you take the time to slow down and get very clear in your mind so that when you speed up, you're now walking on have you ever been on a professional track, like the rubberized track? When Thomas was in high school, his friend Kenton and I wrote Nike out in Oregon, and we asked them for the money to build a rubberized track at Greenwood High School. I mean, I was going to find the money to get them a good track because Kenton jumped and Thomas sprinted at that time, and we had a crap track. You know, my driveway was better than the track they were running on. I'm like, I'm going to get them a rubberized track because if you've ever run, I mean, I'm not a runner, I'm not a sprinter. I do run, I sprint just in between my workouts. It's not my thing. I'm not a long distance runner. If my friend Eliza's watching, she's like, she is not a runner, because Eliza is a runner, like a champion runner, a racer. But even I could run a mile on a rubberized track. Even I can sprint faster on a rubberized track. So my point here is that the tool that you have or don't have matters. It also inspires you. You know, when you go on a rubberized track and you get on some nice Lulus, and whether they're short or long, and a really nice jog bra, and you're proud of the message that you're wearing on your t-shirt, and you're like, yeah, you're going to run better, faster, more professionally than if you just go out and slop around and you're not ready. Tools matter. And so that's why I'm big on them. So things fall into a few categories. Once you've got the tools put together, things fall into a few categories, okay? And I want to talk about this in the course of our day. The first thing that we cannot ignore is feelings. Feelings are our emotions, and our feelings reflect our thoughts, our concerns, our weight, our health, addiction. Our feelings are all wrapped up into those elements. Our work, our worth, our earnings. And then there are relationships. So we've got our feelings, we've got our relationships. People who build us up, respect our dreams and desires, encourage our growth while accepting our flaws, versus those people who rip us up and try to control, or manipulate, or demean, or worse. Feelings, relationships. Another category is results. Results. Work, money, feedback, significance, service. I want to remind you, it's a blessing to get to work, to be able to work. to be able to stand, walk, move your hands, talk, see people. It's a blessing to get to work. I have about this much patience for people who are able and don't. We lost Jerry Shaw, my late husband, in 2006. So it will be, it was December 2006. So 13 years ago. And I will never forget when he got back from Reno from one of his chelation treatments where we were working with every possible known holistic alternative to slow down or get rid of what ultimately was diagnosed as ALS. And I will never forget when he came back and he was just going to try to help out around the house and, you know, do some things like he had always, I mean, he's always such a great life partner, change light bulbs. He could not screw the light bulb. And I will never forget the day when he came down with his slurred speech and tears in his eyes to say, I can't unscrew the light bulb. He would love to have changed all the light bulbs in the house that day. Shortly after, he could no longer type on his computer. And in my business, Jerry Shaw created the template for almost every document that is used, recycled, recirculated today, because he was so good and so forward in what he did. When he could no longer type, oh, he would have loved to have designed a website or a flyer or contest promotion. Please do not ever get it confused. You get to work. You're able to work right now. When opportunity presents itself, it's too late to get prepared. And so seize the season that you're in. It's a blessing to get to work. There are three things to consider: your priorities, your commitment, and your motivation. Priorities. What is your priority at this season? It can't be everything. If it's everything, it's the same old way it's always been. I'm just going to tell you that. You've got to narrow a priority. When you have so much going on, I mean, really it's said that if you want to be really effective in what you're doing, then cut your commitments in half. Many people who have a slower paced personality styles have such a hard time saying no. So therefore they live most of their lives really vanilla because they're never willing to draw a boundary and say no, to put a lot of effort into one thing for long enough to get that result. Priorities. And then commitment. Commitment. What is your commitment? What is your willingness to follow through? You know, it is so rare that people will actually follow through on what they want to do. Yesterday, I drove to Somerset. It's about a 2-hour drive from my house to see my little neighbor compete in Miss Kentucky Teen. And she won. Shout out to Maddie Barker, Kentucky's new Miss Teen. I'm so proud of her, and she was beautiful and elegant, and her family's amazing. But on Saturday, you know, I got a whole lot going on, and then Sunday we're starting a new month, and it's Super Bowl, and you know, I'm rushing around to get dressed, and I had a lot going on. I was like, driving to Somerset, but I would not have dared not go. Is what I'm saying. Did I feel like going? I didn't feel like driving 2 hours. I wanted to be there for her, but I didn't feel like driving for 2 hours. Did I go? Yes. Was I glad I went? Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So you've got to keep in mind that you've got to follow through on your commitments, whether the feeling that you had when you made them is still there or not. That is irrelevant. You're not stretching the muscle of grit and follow through and tenacity and push. That's commitment. So commitment is if you said, I'm going to weigh 85 on March 30th, 2020, and I will have lost 50 pounds, and I'm enjoying the freedom and health of blah, 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 blah. Your commitment happens in the moment when you get to make a choice. How committed are you? And then motivation. What will you do to motivate yourself? Do you know what I did on the way there and on the way back? I listened to 4 hours of Audible. I got some great content in my brain. Some of it's actually spilling out on these pages with you tonight so that I can make myself better, so that I can support you in being better. And so, you know, what are you doing to keep yourself motivated? Nobody wakes up motivated. Nobody stays motivated all day long. I don't know about you, but I can be like, yeah, take it on, Rocky, da, 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 da. And then the next hour, like, oh my gosh, what happened? You know, the whole world's caving in. That's the way everybody's day goes. It's not just you. And so you've got to find a way to keep your own motivation. Y'all, we only complain about things over which we have the power to change. Everything that you or I risk complaining about, we have the power to change. We don't complain about things we don't have the power to change. I never complain about gravity. I've never heard anybody complain about gravity. Like, oh, gravity's not holding me down. I mean, no, gravity is. So we don't complain about it because we don't have any capacity to change it. We don't even think about it. The air around us, you know, we complain about the air quality maybe if we're in China and it's real smoggy, or it's smoky and we're not a smoker and we're like, oh, we might complain about the air, but we don't complain about oxygen day to day because it's free flowing. It's just generous wherever we are. We don't complain about things that we can't change. The things we complain about, we can change. So I want you to think about that, because when I complain or procrastinate, I either am lacking clarity, I'm lacking enough want to, I'm lacking courage or faith or work ethic. But procrastination and limiting beliefs have a root, and both have a solution. Dr. Caroline Leaf has been speaking a lot lately about the topic of uncertainty and how we must become familiar with and embrace uncertainty instead of repelling it. And she wrote on her Instagram last week, we avoid uncertainty for two reasons. One, externally, because we don't want to seem like we don't have it together. So we're not really good with uncertainty because we don't want other people to see us as not together, or have a plan which society has led us to believe makes us feel good and valuable. You know, that if we have a plan, society goes, okay, you're making it happen. So we don't want to seem uncertain for that reason. And then number two, internally, because of past traumatic experiences with uncertainty, and because uncertainty creates chaos in our minds. So when we're not sure about what's going to happen tomorrow, that's why we don't set the breakthrough goal. That's why we don't back up, pass the ball all the way down the field, Hail Mary, all the way down. That's why we don't do that, because internally, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. If the quarterback and the receiver knew what the outcome is going to be, we would watch a very dull and boring game today. But I got a feeling it's not going to be dull or boring, because I believe people are going to take breakthrough opportunities and chances. Watch the game from that perspective. In our minds, so with uncertainty, because uncertainty creates chaos in our minds, and our natural inclination is to avoid that uncertainty because this is a threat to survival. So reality is, for you, focus means learning what and who to ignore more than where to put your attention. Okay, back to football. I'm the quarterback. I get the ball. I got people who weigh 350 pounds trying to take me down. Like, they want to take me down. So I know I got people coming at me, but I got my eye on one person, the person who is going to advance the ball. If I'm the quarterback, I've got my eye on one person who is going to advance the ball. If I focus on the lineman coming at me, I will get creamed. If, however, I focus on the person I'm going to pass the ball to, or I'm going to throw the ball to, my chances of actually making a connection, advancing my team, creating a score is much greater. Focus is about knowing what to ignore, not so much about what you're looking at. So what's coming at you? What 350-pound linebacker is coming at you? Offensive lineman is coming at you. Who's trying to take you down? Don't focus on that. Focus on the win. Focus on the Hail Mary. Focus on the score. It's the wrong gaze. It's important to know where to put your focus, but it's more important to know what to ignore. It is the wrong gaze, the easy focus, that is the actual distraction. So habits is the formation of habits. The formation of creating a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of deciding, a new way of acting. It's the reason the 90-day planner is a critical tool. Dr. Leaf says, in order to turn long-term memory into habits, you will have to choose the hard work of investing time in your thought life. Unfortunately, most people give up within the first week of learning, and they do not push through this process. It takes 63, not 21 days. 63 of 90. It takes 63 days to create a new habit, because it takes that long for new cells to completely form that new pathway. 63 consecutive days. Not 63 days of setting random appointments in another planner. Not 63 days of not checking back in with your goals or habits. If you don't check back in, you will not remember. I'm telling you right now. I want to talk you through very quickly the benefits of the tool and the what and the why. I am on 24 years of working in the tool. And the front part is obvious. I'm not going to take time to go through the front part, just like the front part of the prayer journal. The front part is when you put it all together and you write it all out and you get really clear and you break it down. It's the day to day. You only have 24 hours, and a half hour at a time is all you've got. So you either set it up or you don't. So when you're starting a new week, it is of critical importance to take the space between 7 days to look at last week before you advance to the next week. And so you've got all this space to really think through, to recalibrate. And all of the words start with R. I will do this later tonight in between today and tomorrow because it's the space between 7 days. So you reflect, review, and rewrite. I'm not going to go through this because I've done so many videos on this very same process, but I'm going to tell you, if you're not doing this exact process in between every week, this is when you move. Today, I will move one of the marbles over, right? So this will, another week is going, moving another one over, right? And so that's the space between 7 days. So when I walk through this process, I'm really recalibrating, rolling over last week, reprioritizing, redesigning, and recommitting. What's my act of courage? What's my one thing this week? What's my one habit this week? And I redo my weekly plan sheet, and then I get into tomorrow. Now, here's the thing about tomorrow. Thing about tomorrow is I'm going to frame my day. How do I know what my frame is? Well, I've already decided what my frame is because I have it in my quiet time journal. I've prayerfully, carefully thought what's the first 2 hours of my day, what's the last hour of my day. And I'm going to frame the day so that I know that what goes in between it has so much more sense. I don't have to decide twice. I do not have to decide twice. And I'll say this again in just a second, but when I will set tomorrow up tonight so that when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to renegotiate. I know exactly what the timetable is. I don't have to rethink. I don't have to resort. I don't have to reorganize. It's already done because I'll do it tonight before I go to bed. This particular page, it's quote by me. It says, if you're unwilling to endure process and process failure, you're already disqualified from success. We are going to miss the mark, but every single day is a new day to get it right. So we've got the frame of your day, we've got the nutrition, we've got space to write miscellaneous notes. My top 3 things. What are your top 3 things tomorrow? Based on your goals, because you're going to go back and you're going to review them tonight. You're going to reread those goals. Based on your goals, what are your top 3 things tomorrow? Do those top 3 things directly impact the goal? I want to say something about the power hour that you're also writing down which hour that was. The power hour is your impact hour. It's the hour of work that impacts your number 1 biggest goal. How are you operating in your impact hour? Are you wishing about it? Are you making new lists of new lists of new lists of new lists for it so that you'll have a better impact hour tomorrow? Are you actually doing what you want and need to do to make the biggest impact towards that goal? So my key 3 things, they have to do with your goals. So you're bringing your goals from the front of the book into today. A regular date book does not do that. You've got to honor the process of putting it all together. So the space between 7 days, again, it's slowing down so that you can speed up and go fast this week. When you set out your day tomorrow, tonight, what are your top 3 things? What are your top 3 key behaviors? This has to do with your habits. Who and what do you need to do that you said you're going to do? And you want to remind yourself, sometimes mine just says keto and kindness. Sometimes it says intermittent fasting. Sometimes it says, whatever, initiate those 10 calls first. Whatever those key behaviors are that are taking me closer to the goals. So every day, my top 3 things and my key behaviors, they may look a lot alike, but they're forcing me to rethink about my goals versus once a week or, God forbid, twice a year. Then you've got on this side, of course, the detail of your game plan. I cannot reiterate the importance of the process enough. And I see people recycling old thoughts, old patterns, old habits, old outcomes because they refuse to do the process. They refuse to do the process because they like their piece of paper better. It's the daily and the weekly. The daily pages are where your money is, because if you just go about a to-do list and a calendar with the intent of the activity, you'll most likely think the same thoughts you thought yesterday, which means you will also get the same results you got last week, last month, perhaps the last year. maybe even the last 5 years or decade. When you think the same thoughts and when you recycle thoughts and emotions, you recycle experiences. There's no way around it. So we've got the tools. We've got the goals, the breakthrough goal, breaking it down into activity, deciding on key behaviors and habits that will support the goal. We've got the specific of the goal, different from a resolution. And now we build in affirmations. Affirmations are statements that train you to believe that what you say, you will experience. If you do not retrain your brain, you do not retrain your thoughts, you will recycle old thoughts, which will recycle old experiences, which will give you an old outcome. You have got to rewire your neural pathways. Affirmations are the only way to do that. Remember, the outcome is the goal that you want. It's out there. The outcome is the goal that you want. The process is your pathway or activity to get there. Remember, I said that you could start out and you could go to Searcy and D1, but maybe if you're going to Somerset, you need a different map. You need a different pathway. So your outcome is what you want. Your process is the pathway. Then the last piece of that is identity. Do I see myself as a person with that outcome? Do I see myself as someone who has 150 of my team members by that deadline, or weigh 185 or 115 by this deadline? What's the identity of that? I've got to build in affirmations that support that outcome and that process. Affirmations are thoughts and they send out signals. Feelings that I generate draw events back to me. The feelings that I generate and send out draw events back to me. I know that we've talked a little bit about the energy levels that you give and receive. And when you walk into a room and you see the person who's brought all the energy, and you can feel the attraction of that person. You've also been in a room where somebody walks in and like sucks out all of the air. And so your choice to be at a higher level of energy with the people around you not only makes you more attractive and makes you more enjoyable, but it certainly also elevates what you can expect to come back to you. If you are not feeling energetic and you find yourself saying really negative things like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so lost, I'm so confused, I'm so behind, I'm so, you or is me. Start with gratitude. Gratitude takes that lower level energy and it moves you up to at least a 400 of a scale of 1,000. Comparison, rejection, complaining, disappointment, frustration, all that's a very low vibed energy and people can feel it. When you're wondering why things aren't going well in your life, well, what are you putting out? Like, yeah, but I don't feel like it. Well, I didn't feel like getting on here tonight either, but I did. So sometimes you just have to exercise your commitment muscle, your grit muscle, and talk and act yourself into a better way of thinking. I'll have a better night once I'm off because I will know that I fulfilled a commitment that I made. And I'm believing that when I read through some of that chat, that something I said is resonating with you in a way that will give you a better night and give you a better week. And that fulfills my calling as a leader. And I'm excited when that happens. So feelings and thoughts are tied to habits and affirmations because the way I'm training my growth is the way my growth will go. Feelings and affirmations, feelings and thoughts are tied to habits and affirmations because the way I'm training my growth is the way it's going to go. Because how I think about it is the way it is. So staying positive in the present is the best thing I can do for my future. If I fight current and unwelcome circumstances and I focus only on the problem or the unwelcome circumstance, I will stay in that circumstance if I focus only on the problem or solving the problem or how awful the circumstance is or how unhappy I am about the circumstance or the relationship or the situation. If, however, I create a new future, that's what goal setting is all about. It's about creating a new future. If I create a new future and live in my vision, I consciously broadcast that future on a daily basis to other people, and feelings unlock possibilities. They unlock possibilities coming at me, and that includes the law of attraction. I am not off on some crazy scientific, new age, name it, claim it. I am operating under the one true God as a follower of Christ, and I understand that biblically we have not begun to touch what God has said about the way this works. What I'm consciously or unconsciously broadcasting on a daily basis is the attraction. So I have to ask myself, who am I being? The right goals, suited to your heart, your vision, your desires, your willingness at this season and your circumstances, the right daily process of advancing in accountability and intention, the right thinking, which means create affirmations that restructure the way that you're thinking about something, because how you talk to yourself affects your next reality. I thought I had something on affirmations, but I'm going to keep going because I think I did, and I don't want to risk repeating myself. I'm going to give you 7 steps. If you haven't yet shared to your Facebook page, hit that share button and let's involve your family and friends in this process of growth. The more people you have around you who are intentionally growing to become their best, to be their most positive, intentional selves, to live their fulfillment, to live the biggest piece of their lives, to set wild, audacious, breakthrough, Hail Mary kind of goals, the more people you have around you like that, the more likely you are with your tribe of people to accomplish yours, because like begets like, and iron sharpens iron as one man or woman sharpens another. So here are the 7 steps for all my Facebook note takers. Okay, here we go. Here are the 7 steps. Steps from here, 7 steps to take this week before next weekend ends. Okay, so I'm going to say between now and the end of next week, make sure you have accomplished these 7 things. So number 1, carve out time to truly ask the tough questions that I started tonight out with. Ask and answer, and consider what you have and have not done well, or have not done with respect to the science behind the goal setting process. Stop shortcutting and repeating old patterns. Be honest. Take the time. Slow down to speed up. So carve out time to ask and answer the questions. If you have a goal setting workbook, but you haven't done it yet, take the first 2 chapters, ask and answer the questions. I tried to work out of an old one because I was being cheap with my own book, and my old answers were distracting me. And so I did go get a new one and start fresh. Sometimes you just need a blank piece of paper to start with an honest place. Number 2, do the thinking, writing, and deciding process to determine your priorities at this time. Again, that can happen in the breakthrough goal setting detail. The goals from large concept all the way down to the steps and the timeline, and you put them on a calendar. If you know what the goal is and you know what the benchmarks are that where you're going to measure whether or not you're on track. It can't just be going a whole year and see if it happened. That's not how goals work. You've got to have incremental benchmarks, and in that way, you know what you're working towards. So do the thinking and the writing and the deciding process to determine at this season what your priority, your biggest goal is right now. And go from large concept down to the steps, the timeline, and put those on a calendar, and then decide, and then stop shortcutting. If you do the same things the same way with the same thoughts and expect a different outcome, you have a different outcome in your mind, it's delusional and foolish. You have to decide. So put the action on your calendar, on a day, on a half-hour time slot every day. Projects or other things that need mapping, in the back of the 90-day planner, there's a place for you to expand and map out those ideas, and then schedule time to put this all together so that once again, you're paying attention to it. Number 3, daily do the work. Each page matters. Review and reread your goals every day. What? Yep. Every night before you go to bed, before you set out tomorrow, go back and reread your goals. This will impact what you do tomorrow. If you go back to the very beginning of your 90-day planner, you're like, you haven't said this before, I'm saying it now. If every night before you set up tomorrow, you go back and you reread the goal setting section of your planner before you set up tomorrow, it will impact the way you set it up. Reread your goals every night before you set your key behaviors and your top 3 things. Place in key behaviors the habits or actions that support your goal achievement. Write your goals additionally on a 3x5 card. So this is new. Review them every night before you go to bed. Set your day up tomorrow. And then get a 3x5 card and write out your top 3 goals on those 3x5 cards. And then after your quiet time in the morning, read those goals. Slip it in your prayer journal and just read them at the end of that time. I think it's so important to increase the number of times a day you're actually looking at your goals. You'll forget things you wrote if you don't. And certainly it's important to go back in the space between 7 days and reread them. But what if you're not only reading them once a week, 52 times a year? What if you're reading them every single night before you go to bed, so that your day tomorrow is set up and your key top 3 things and top 3 key behaviors line up so beautifully with that goal that it's so on the forefront of your mind? Might you be less distracted? Might you be more intentional? My answer for you is yes. Number 4, set up tomorrow tonight. It frees you to sleep. It puts your subconscious to work while you're resting. The problems that you may have tomorrow, your subconscious is already working on because you've already laid out tomorrow before you go to bed. You decide once, you execute once. You don't have to wake up and wonder what time you're going to do 10 calls. You know exactly what it is because you've taken your half-hour sticky note and you've detailed it before you go to bed. These are your guardrails. This is habit formation support. This is reinforcement. Number 5, write your affirmations and record them. So affirmations support your goals. 1 to 2 affirmations per goal and 1 to 2 affirmations per habit. They are positive. Avoid saying don't, not, and no. Your brain does not record the negative forms of those words. Don't, not, and no. Okay? For example, don't think about a snowstorm. You're thinking about a snowstorm. You're seeing snow. So your goals have to be in the positive. So that and they also have to be written in a way that you believe them. So sometimes it could sound like I'm in the process of, but you've got to go ahead and include that you're already enjoying the outcome of the result of the goal that you set. That's what affirmations do. Not I'm learning, but I'm enjoying, I'm celebrating, I'm living in, I'm joyful in the process of, I am, that. Listen to them morning and night. Carve out time. Mine are now 6 minutes in the morning and I think 4 at night. Set alarms until it becomes a habit. Nothing is going to change until you change something that you do every day. And nothing is going to change until you change the way you think. And so you've got your outcome, you've got your process, the steps to accomplish it, and now you're working on the identity. Your affirmations are taking away old limiting beliefs, old thoughts, old experiences that did not serve you well, and you're creating a new outcome, a new level of expectation. You're sending out energy, your own, that is loving and engaging to other people. It's serving, it's joyful. You take it to at least above 400 with immediate gratitude for the ability to get to work, to be able to set goals, to be able to have this conversation, to be able to enjoy this technology tonight, every single day. Until you change, you'll never change until you change the way you do something every day. And these things that I'm talking about are game changers. Number 6, accountability. It's best to run with a buddy. But if you have a history of remaining the same with your buddy, you most likely have built in some kind of codependency or dysfunction. So instead of justifying this, what I'm saying, or debating it, no, I'm not, no, we're not, no, she's not, it's not my game. I do not have dysfunctional, debilitating, limiting, controlling, enabling people around me. I'm grateful for the journey that I've had and the conversations that I've had, and certainly the family of Al-Anon to recognize when some of that is happening. So instead of justifying, just create new accountability. If you're in the same place in the last year, 2 years, 5 years, and your accountability people are the same, up to you. Number 7, vision board. Color speaks to your brain. Visions, pictures that repeat words from your goals and affirmations. It needs to be visible with your 90-day planner. And visible 90-day planner overcomes the biggest frailty to all humanity. This plus this. Oops, where am I? This plus this. Here's my goal board. You're like, let me see it. No, it's personal. That's what it is. And it sits downstairs where I work so that I can see it every day. My focus on this, my intent on this, all filled out in the front with a tag straight to the goal setting page so that I can get there quickly. And then a yellow sticky on tomorrow so that I can get there quickly. And then the vision board in color It's a repeating of the words and pictures and images that mirror my goals, that match my affirmations, so that my brain is saying, okay, 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 bring it. So the vision board, color repetitive words from your goals and affirmations. Visible 90-day planner overcomes the biggest frailty to all humanity. Do you know what the biggest frailty to all humanity is? Forgetting. It's forgetting. Forgetting is what humans do. Structure for creative change is what successful people do. Forgetting is what humans do. I will double dog bet you that if you've even filled out a 90-day planner, but you haven't been doing the process of going to the front of it, that you could not tell me what 3 habits you wrote down in the very beginning, because you know that you wanted to change them and you know you wanted to create them, but I'll bet you can't remember them. I'll bet you couldn't detail all 3 of your goals, one or two of them, and the steps and the benchmark. Forgetting is what we do. And so what we want to be able to do is create structure for creative change that aligns with the biology of epigenetics and our brains and our prefrontal cortex and our memory and our new neural pathways and the beauty that God gives us every day, that we can create new thoughts because there are new proteins every single day to give something new to. Most of us just don't. We follow the patterns, science, research, and pathways of those successful people who've gone before us instead of fighting, ego justifying, or the prideful stupidity of just remaining the same. If we like our excuses and limiting beliefs more than we want our new outcome, then embrace a 2020 that looks just like previous years. You are on course. If, however, you're fully committed to doing the work required for growth and change, I invite you to continue the journey with me as you share your progress by tagging me on your Facebook or your Instagram posts and stories. I'm at Pamela Shaw on Instagram, and we're on this page, Pamela Waldrop Shaw, my personal page on Facebook. You can also join the Instagram page at 90-Day Planner and see some really fun, inspirational posts and reminders throughout the week there. There's also continual use of suggestions for the use of the planner and the other Design Your Life tools. And there are, of course, free videos detailing goal setting and affirmations, all of those things on PamelaShaw.pink. And they are available for total free. So with that, I hope you got something that you needed. And I would love for you, if you're still on the chat, to just type in what's one thing that you're walking away with tonight. What's one tweak, 1 or 2 things that you're going to walk away with tonight, that you're going to integrate immediately to elevate your goal setting process. Let me know what that is. And let me know where you kind of left a crack in the mortar, but you tightened it up tonight, and how this week is going to look different from previous weeks, because you're going to come back in and you're going to redesign this tonight. You're going to redesign your day tomorrow tonight. What are you walking away with tonight? What's the one thing or the one concept, or maybe something new that you haven't heard before that means the most to you? I would love to know that. I'll be reading through. The other thing I would love to know from you is what would you like to hear more of on the next lives that we do? I'm going to try to do at least 1 a month, just reiterating the goal setting process, because I know that if you're like me, remembering is a pretty big deal. And I have to have tools to remind myself. And I have an excellent memory. I remember a lot of important things. I release things that are not important. But in terms of goal setting, it's the minutia. It's that small piece. It's that time frame. It's that timetable. It's the why behind the what. When you know the goal that you want, your what. And when you know why you want it. I know what I want. I know why I want it. How is never the question. When we know what we want, and when we know why we want it, and our what and our why is clear and in alignment, how is never the question. We get very creative when our what and our why is clear. And then when we live in a way that honors our what and our why, and we go after the pathway, the most direct pathway to our outcome, I'm telling you, literally, the favor of the universe comes out to greet you, especially when you are in a high expectancy of what is to come. So what would you like to hear more about? Do you want to hear more about that? Do you want more reiteration of this, just repetition of this? Tell me what you'd like to hear more about in the Design Your Life process, and I will bring that to you time. So between now and then, I look forward to seeing your tags on social media. Thank you for the inspiration that you bring. Your success blesses others. Your joy encourages me. your words of affirmation, something that you've learned, something that you're integrating that's blessing your family, your children, your team, your community. It's such an encouragement to me when I read it. It makes me happy. I love seeing your success. I love cheering on your increase. And so thank you for letting me know that a tool that you're using or a concept that has been shared is making a difference in your life. It truly, it's what it's all about. The connection and the ability to connect this way. So God bless you, Godspeed, and keep shining brightly.